Welcome to the Transfer Exchange Show. We are live. It may be the interlull, but we've still got plenty to discuss. The Premier League running is upon us. Who's going to win it? Who's got the toughest running amongst... I know he said Chelsea. Wow. Wow. Look who would laugh at Chelsea. Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool. And the top four race between Tottenham, Aston Villa, and potentially Manchester United. Look, Garth. I know you pulled that face, but everywhere that's doing this running talk in the papers, whatever, is involving Man United in it. So we've got involved Man United as well.
Man United.
Well, there we go.
Got to get the name in, ain't you?
Just for clicks. I'm joined by Farrell, Garth, and Steve. How's everyone doing?
Yeah, great car, mate.
Yeah, good. Yeah, all good, mate. Countdown to the Etihad. Can't wait.
Yeah, and also we're going to be discussing who could potentially be Manchester United's next manager after calls, after the noise of Gareth Southgate came out and he refused to discuss it. And Man United fans not happy about that one. Since then, many other names, a 9-man shortlist is propped up for Man United as well, including the likes of Thomas Frank, De Zerbi, and Graham Potter. But we couldn't have a better person in here tonight to discuss that with Garth. First and foremost, the Premier League running. We're going to start with the top four. That's not top four. This is the top four. Top four, we've got Aston Villa's final fixtures, Tottenham's final fixtures, and Manchester United. Aston Villa start off with a derby against Wolves, followed up by away at the Etihad Stadium, Brentford, Arsenal away, Bournemouth, Chelsea, Brighton, Liverpool, and Crystal Palace. Another team who's got to face the top three and that might have something to say in who wins the Premier League there. Tottenham's running includes Luton at home, West Ham away, Nottingham Forest at home, Newcastle away from home, Arsenal at home, Liverpool away, Burnley at home, Sheffield United away, Chelsea away, and the last game of the season, Manchester City. And Manchester United's remaining fixtures are Brentford away from home, Chelsea away from home, Liverpool at home, Bournemouth, Burnley away from home, Arsenal at home, Brighton at home, Newcastle away, and Sheffield United away. Steve, quickly start with you on this one. If I can get back to the screen, I don't know what the hell was happening there. Oh, there we go. Steve, the first thing you can notice there is Aston Villa. They've got to face Manchester City, Arsenal, and Liverpool in that race. Also, Brighton, Chelsea. A real tough running for Aston Villa for the end of the season. For probably what people would, without really looking at those fixtures, say the favourites to land that top four spot.
Yeah. I mean, there's a little bit of debate if Liverpool should be in there because of the way, getting a bit worrying recently. We've been getting beat by Man United and Klopp, getting a little bit carried away and these injuries. So, there's a little bit of a...
I was got something to say on that one.
Debate in there. I don't know.
You hated him. That's horrible.
The
rods are out. The rods are out early.
Well, you weren't here last week, so you deserve something, mate.
All right, there we go.
You deserve something. But no, mate.
I couldn't be, could I, anyway?
True. But no, mate. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be really interesting. For me, looking at them fixtures, I mean, all those teams are going to probably lose matches that, we don't expect. I mean, three of those sides have been inconsistent all season. And they're probably going to be they're going to be inconsistent right up until the end of the season. So, yeah, I think out of the three, I'd probably plump for Tottenham as probably having the best chance. Aston Villa, to me, don't look like They look like they're going on the backward step rather than going on a forward step right at this stage. So yeah, for me, it's Tottenham at the minute who I put favourites, but that's very 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 small. If I had to pick someone, it would be them. But it'll be interesting, mate, and it's going to be really interesting because we've still got the fifth place as well. It all depends on how our clubs are going to do in the in the other European competitions. We've got a good chance of having 5 teams, so someone else might sneak in there. It's Arsenal got Bayern, and West Ham got Bayer Leverkusen. So all those sides will be wanting to cheer us on to go through.
2 German wins then. 2 German wins there, honestly.
2 Germans, 2
German wins. Leverkusen and Munich winning them games, ain't they? So.
Yeah, well that's
then. There's no 5th coming.
Well, that's definitely your lot then, Garth, if that's the case, mate. So,
I don't know. I started asking the question about Aston Villa, and we've gone on to Bayern Munich versus Arsenal, Steve. That is exceptional segue for you. Unbelievable. I don't know how you managed it, but you managed to talk about Arsenal when I asked you about Aston Villa. Unbelievable. Brilliant, Jeff. Unbelievable, Jeff. You can see that through ball.
Yeah. But no, I don't. I think Aston Villa, mate. I think Aston Villa are probably, they're on the backward step at the moment, and that's why I think Tottenham will be the team that will probably pip it. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be difficult. But as I said, they could sneak in through the 5th place as well. I mean, looking at those fixtures, Man City away, like difficult. You've got Arsenal away, which is going to be difficult for them. Manchester United got Arsenal at home, but for me, Aston Villa will just miss out on the 4th place, for instance. But as I said, like they do have a chance of getting through the 5th position.
Yeah. Farrell, Villa face Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City. Some big games and a derby against Wolves. Do you feel the same as Steve, that it's getting to the crunch time of the season and a team like Aston Villa might just fall off in that top 4 race?
I think it takes a couple of games, you know what I mean, and you can just sort of quite quickly sort of slip out of it. I think they're going to be really reliant as well, on their home form. If they can kind of rediscover that run that they had at the start of the season, where everyone was kind of scared of going to Villa Park, I think they could get through that. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to. I mean, I could be wrong, but they're not going to pick up points away at the Etihad. They're probably not going to pick up points when they come to your ground at the Emirates. You know what I mean? So I think it's very much reliant on their home form. But this is the problem I certainly had when I was looking at it at the time for Liverpool's purposes in terms of winning the league. If it is crunch time in those last sort of 2 games, and there's still hope of them sneaking into the top 4, it's pressure on Liverpool, but equally pressure on them as well, because they have to put a dent in Liverpool's title charge if it's looking like it's in our control by that point, which it certainly is. Of course, if Arsenal don't beat City at the Etihad in the end of the month, it'll be very much in Liverpool's control. Of course, whether it stays that way by the end of the season, we'll just have to see. I've done a Steve there, brought it to Liverpool, but here we are.
Just about to say that.
Unbelievable. I'm loving it. What's going on?
Cruyff
turned into a Liverpool chat. Absolutely
Aston Villa, but can I just talk about Liverpool for a second?
Yeah. Shameless, but we'll grant it.
Garth's going to keep it well away from Manchester United. He won't be segueing into.
Garth, you've got to keep him looking here, and then the fun times happening.
I'm not part of this conversation. I was going to say
you are part of this conversation. Okay,
you need to segue into them.
Start you after. Okay, Aston Villa, a tough run here. A lot of people had them in potentially even in a race for the league. And some were saying Emery isn't quite the guy to and Villa aren't quite the team to have that longevity in a race. But do you think they're going to get in the top 4? Or do you think they're just going to miss out?
Yeah, I can't see Villa out of these 3 teams making the top 4. But again, Farrell and Sim already hit on it. It's one of them, and it's if Villa find that form, you know what I mean? If Watkins decides to find another purple patch, banging a goal every game until the end of the season, blah, blah, blah. Who knows? For me personally, no. I think it's going to be too much for them. I don't think they have the depth in the team to continue all the way. I will just quickly say it's interesting, though, I mean, looking at all of them, that none of them free play each other at any point now. Like, so it's all depending on other results going their way, etc., etc. So, yeah, for me, with what Villa have got in front of them, and we've all got pretty similar. I think we've all got to play Chelsea. We've all got to play Liverpool by the looks of things. You know what I mean? Like, blah, like it's going to be tough for Villa to maintain that. I mean, but they're still there, ain't they? With me and you, Keir, have been saying it pretty much all season when they're going to slip away, and they haven't quite done it yet. So, no, but for me, no, I don't see Villa making top 4. I really don't.
And looking at Man United's fixtures, Brentford, Chelsea, Liverpool at home, Bournemouth away from home, Burnley, Crystal Palace, Arsenal at home, Brighton, Newcastle at home, and Sheffield United. I'd probably say of the 3, that's probably the easiest run. Does that give you a little bit of hope in this run with the 2 teams in front of you, Spurs potentially being Spursy and Aston Villa not quite having it in them?
Yeah, well, no, not really. The Man United fan at the moment, mate, because we could go and lose 7-0 to Brentford, couldn't we? I think.
I'll tell you what, though, Garth. I'll tell you what, though. With the Champions League places, 9 times out of 10, it always goes down to the last 2-3 games of the seasons. And what I will say, although I do still make Tottenham favourites, if you look at those last 2-3 games to Tottenham, they've got Chelsea and they've got Manchester City there. You know, United have got.
We've got Arsenal and then Brighton away, mate.
Yeah, but Arsenal, Man United, that's still a big game. You know, Man United generally do play well against Arsenal on their own pitch. Look, and they've got to play Newcastle at home, and then they've got Sheffield United away. If you look at Tottenham,
Spurs haven't got Chelsea and Man City. Them fixtures are coming before the end of the season.
Yeah. You're right, mate. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Hopefully they will.
Yeah. They're coming in April, I understand. Yeah.
Oh, are they?
So, yeah, that's
all right. Okay.
They're not the last games. This is what I will say, lads, is I'm desperate. I'd love it bringing out my Kevin Keegan. I'd love it if we get to Arsenal, Man United Arsenal on 11th May, and you're still going for the title, and we do ya, and it ends your title. I'd love it.
But on the other end, we might have a Silver Wiltor moment, mate.
Yeah.
So that could be too much.
That is
the only thing is, he's giving it all that I'd love it, but that would mean that either Man City win
we've had this, Keir. We've had
the
this.
4-peat, whatever it is, and Liverpool equal Man United's or beat Man United's top division wins.
Too many of my mates are Arsenal fans. I don't want to see them happy. So that's the end of that one.
It's that recency bias again.
No, listen, I don't want any 3 of you to win it, obviously, you know what I mean? And all 3 of these teams, like all of them, are going to have a big say. Like I think Steve or yourself, Farrell, said, Aston Villa, Spurs, and Man United are going to have a big say in which one of you 3 boys win the title in the end. So it's going to be very interesting.
I agree. Steve, on Tottenham, you were saying you'd probably pick them as favourites. Luton, West Ham, Nottingham Forest, 3 games they should win. Newcastle might be a tough game. Arsenal, obviously, that's a loss. So just scratch it off, boys and girls. Liverpool away from home, going to be tough. Don't see them really getting any points there. Burnley at home, you've got to get points there. Sheffield United, they're already down. Chelsea, I mean, it depends what Chelsea turn up, innit? And then, and then Manchester City as well. You'd think they should win the majority of games, but there's still a few tricky fixtures in there that should give hope to Man United and also Aston Villa there.
Oh yeah, definitely, mate. It's like I said. I mean, these teams are 4th and 5th and 6th, mainly because through the season they've been really good at times and they've been really inconsistent at times. You know, all those 3 teams, Tottenham, Man United, and Aston Villa, all of them have come up against teams, you know, bottom 5, bottom 6, and they've got turned over. So it will be. It's going to be exciting. It will be exciting, but. There are some big games there. Look, they've got Tottenham in there. They've got Chelsea in there. They've got Man City in there. They've got some really tough fixtures. Liverpool, I think they've got. You said that they've also got in there as well. Some really difficult games. Probably out of all of them, I'd say probably Aston Villa have got the worst. But the easiest. Sorry. You know, with Wolves at home, Brentford, Bournemouth, Brighton, you would expect them to beat. Palace, you expect to beat. It's going to be really, really
mate,
tough.
You say that. You say that.
Run.
You say that. But Villa, but what was the derby? And they've been in good form this year. Man City,
Yeah.
Arsenal, Brighton,
I'm going the
Liverpool,
complete opposite.
Chelsea.
I think they've got the hardest, Steve.
I
I
think
really
they've
think
got the
Villa got the
hardest,
hardest.
I'm telling you right now, they've got the hardest.
I think they've got the hardest.
It's
That's
the way
a
the
real
fixtures
tough
are as
run.
well. It's the away at Man City. It's the away at Arsenal, away at Brighton. Like
Sorry.
them, they're tough games. And like Kim's already said, the derby with Wolves. Like you know, like I think listen, they're all tough as anything, mate. To be quite honest with you, when you're down in 4th, 5th, and 6th, they're as tough as anything. So
Yeah, actually,
yeah.
that's a really good point. Like, if you look at this one, like you're saying that your favourites are Tottenham, Steve. If you look at their toughest games, Man City at home, Arsenal at home, Liverpool. That's their tough. Liverpool away. That's going to be really, really tough. And Newcastle away from home. So they've got a couple of tough away games. But the Man City, they'll probably be thinking they could probably get something out of it. Maybe not a win, but definitely a point at home against Manchester City. But it depends if Ange is doing his most
They don't like
Ange
playing.
ball.
They don't like playing Tottenham, do they? Man City don't like playing Tottenham.
They don't at all.
No.
So it'd be interesting to see if Tottenham can get something out of that game.
Mm.
Farrell, where would you put? What order would you put these three teams in? Aston Villa, Tottenham, and Manchester United.
Oh, that's a tough one, isn't it? In terms of fixture difficulty or kind of like the overall I mean, I'll go from fixture difficulty first.
Yeah.
I think Tottenham have the best run. Actually, do they? You know what? Actually, no. I'll tell you what. I think United have the best run, followed by Tottenham.
I agree.
And Villa have the worst run. The problem is, of course, it very much depends what kind of United turns up for the remainder of the season. Do you know what I mean? I think technically, I'd probably argue Villa are sort of the more consistent team out of the three, but they also have the harder run. So it's so problematic. You just don't know. It's the same with Tottenham, really. You know, I think you just don't know what you're going to get. They could go on a run and just score like 5 in 3 games, or you could just get trounced, you know, away to Bournemouth or something. It's a really weird top 4 beyond the 3 of sort of Liverpool, City, and Arsenal. So I think it'll be very interesting to watch. But I think my money would probably be on Tottenham. Just really depends. I think it's in United's power. It's just whether they want to sort of take the opportunity.
Yeah. Garth, what order would you put these in? First fixture difficulty, and then order at the end of the season.
Honestly, my comments, Farrell, you must be reading my notebook, mate, because that is exactly what I'm feeling. Which is, if Man United are playing well and we can like compete on the field, then we've got the easiest fixture list. I think it is easier than the other two. But it's Man United at the moment. Yeah, it's Man United. And as for the end of the season, again, if Man United can actually play well till the end of the season, I think we do. I've been very pessimistic about it, but if we can play well, I think we nick 4th at the end of the season. I really do.
Do you know? Sorry,
we can't against Brentford next week, and we get battered 4-0. Then it's all over. Like this is what I mean. For me,
it starts
at the moment,
week by week. Yeah,
it's game by game. Exactly. I hate to be cliche about it, but for Man United, it really is. So again, what Farrell was saying, I think Villa's got the consistency, but have they got the squad depth? And Spurs, you've already said it. Spurs are Spursy. Like, who knows what they're going to do? You know exactly what Farrell was saying. Who knows? So yeah, I hate to copy everything that's just been said, but yeah, I'm on exactly the same page there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And Steve.
Yeah. I think just on Garth's point there with Manchester United, you're probably right. They could have the easiest, but looking at the fixtures, especially the first 3, I think Manchester United's Champions League hopes are going to be in those first 3 fixtures. They could be over by those first 3.
Yeah,
because Brentford away. I mean, again, going back, just thinking, I don't think they like playing Brentford. Manchester. I think Brentford have beat them in the past. Or they struggled each job. Chelsea away is not going to be easy, right? And then you've got Liverpool. I think you've got 9 points there. I think Manchester United need to get 7 out of those. I don't think they can afford to lose unless, obviously, one of these. You would expect Tottenham to beat Luton, West Ham, and Nottingham Forest, and really, all right, Wolves is a difficult game. Man City, Aston Villa might lose that, but. Yeah, for me, those 3 games there, looking at the fixtures, are going to be a big in the next few weeks, we'll know a lot more about where Man United are going to finish and how they're going to finish the season. But yeah, I would just go for Tottenham, yeah, I think Villa will probably knock out. I think Manchester United could slip into that 5th place. I think I can see Villa just going out of it altogether.
Yeah, Brentford are a funny one. They're a team that everyone seems to struggle against, but they're in really bad form this season, sitting in 15th in the league, not won a game in the last 5, yet they still seem to cause trouble against teams. But I mean, you look at that running where Man United got Brentford in this kind of form, you'd be thinking they should be getting points in that game. But it is Man United, it is Brentford, and it is away from home, so it's going to be a tough one. So who did you say your final standing was, Steve?
I think Tottenham finished 4th. I think United will sneak into 5th. So hopefully Garth will be cheering on Arsenal, West Ham next week.
Never.
And,
Never.
and
I ain't one of them fans, mate. I ain't one of them fans.
No half and half scarves over here.
Yeah, mate, I want Arsenal. Even if it means me aren't in the Champions League, I want Arsenal out of the Champions League. I never want you to win the European Cup.
I'm actually changing my mind now. I hope they get Conference League and play every Sunday in the next season. Sodom, come on the Villa. Come on the Villa.
Up the Villa.
No, seriously though, yeah, I think they'll sneak into 5th place, and I think we will get that 5th extra place, and United will make it, and yeah, I can see Villa just going from their form going backwards, finishing 6th or 7th possibly.
All right, it's time for the big boy chat. Who are the final games?
I'm going to go back and cup of tea.
See you later,
back in like 20 minutes. Yeah.
Feel free to remove yourself from this one, Garth.
Hello.
All right, the fixtures for Arsenal, Liverpool, and Manchester United are here. Arsenal take on Manchester City, Luton, Brighton away from home, Aston Villa, Wolves away, Tottenham away, Bournemouth at home, Manchester United away. That could be crucial. Everton at home and Chelsea at home. Liverpool take on Brighton at home, Sheffield United at home. That's got to be 2 wins there. Man United away. It's going to be tough. They do tend to struggle a little bit at Old Trafford, but we'll see. Crystal Palace, Fulham, West Ham, Tottenham at home, Aston Villa away, Wolves at home, and Everton and Manchester City take on Arsenal at home, Villa at home, Crystal Palace away, Luton at home, Nottingham Forest away, Wolves, Fulham, West Ham at home, and the 2 away fixtures, both at Tottenham and Brighton. Steve, I hope you weren't biting your nails there with nerves as I'm reading out the fixtures list.
I was studying.
You're looking worried. You're looking worried. Wiping his brow.
Look like that statue. What's that statue?
Rubs his hands. I don't know why you're rubbing your hands there, Farrell. It's like you didn't listen to me when I was reading out your fixture list.
It's the lowest difficulty. Have you not seen? Average points per game.
I don't know where they're getting this from.
I'm so disappointed that you brought up the independent one as well. I had to sort of phone to make myself look clever, like, points per game for this team.
Steve, Arsenal have some tough fixtures. Manchester City away from home. Got to play Man United away from home. It's always a tough fixture. Tottenham away from home. They're the noisy neighbours that think they're going to have something to say in this running. And shame they're not involved in it themselves, but there you go. Liverpool have also got some tough games, but back to Arsenal, Steve. How do you think they're going to do in this running? What's your thoughts?
Oh well, they've got the difficult most of the hardest running, out of the 3 teams. How are they going to do, mate? Who knows? Mate? It's going to be tough. It all starts next week, doesn't it? When we beat Man City, when we play Man City. As I said, I've already said countless times that I'm not having this. If we lose or if we win or if we draw, then it puts us either. Obviously, you want to win, but I don't believe the title is going to be decided next week. I can't. I don't think that. But look, it's going to be really difficult for Arsenal. We've got some massive games to play. As I say, we've got to go to. To what Hart Lane, we've got to go to Manchester United, and Chelsea. We've got to play, which that'd be difficult. It's going to be tough. We're going to find out what what this team's really made of. It's up to yet. We're showing that we've made of different stuff from last season when we got to this time of the year where we started to fell away because we hadn't really been used to being in that position before. We're a different kettle of fish, so I'm much more confident that we can get through this back end of the fixtures this time round than we did last season because we look stronger, and I think that sort of we're talking about that we've got Man City next week. I'm a lot confident about going to there next week than I was last time we went there. I'm sort of rubbing my hands. I can't wait. I've got like a nervous excitement, and I think we can beat them. Although I'd probably take a draw now. Look, we're not the
happily.
We're not
Graciously.
we're not the favourites to win this. I keep saying that we're not the favourites to win it. We've got the hardest fixtures. As I say, I keep getting told that we ain't been there before, and Liverpool and Man City have, and they've got the best managers and the best squads. So, yeah, and I'll repeat, it's their title to lose.
Going on here, this is amazing.
But this is
Ferguson mind games going on here.
But it's in their hands. Look, it's in Liverpool and Man City's hands. As far as Arsenal's fixtures to go, they're very Sorry,
who's top of the league? Who's top of the league at the moment?
Arsenal. This is.
It's Arsenal, so it's in your hands. No,
this is mind game central.
They're top and still chasing the pack.
We're first place for underdogs.
You look at you've only got to look at the bookies. You've only got to listen to Liverpool and Man City fans. They're telling us where the underdogs.
I try not to, mate.
Look, it's going to be really hard. It's going to be really difficult, and as I say, I do believe that it's Man City's and Liverpool's titles to lose, and if they do lose and they don't win the title, and Arsenal do take it, I think Arsenal are in a really good place. We're in a good place. There's no pressure on us because we're not the favourites. We're not the team who's expected to win. So it's Liverpool and Man City are expected. One of them's expected to win the league. There's hope for their fans' sake that one of them do, because they labelled our young side as bottlers last season. Well, what this experienced team with these great managers will be, what they will be labelled at if they lose, I don't know. It will be an absolute disaster for them. So I'll be waiting comfortably.
We will see.
They've both already won titles.
Farrell, the quadruple's over.
Yep.
But there is still a story to be told of Klopp's final season at Liverpool. Will it be the Premier League title to add on to that? Tough run-in. Brighton and Sheffield United to start with. Got to be 6 points. Expect nothing less there. Manchester United away from home. Crystal Palace at home. Fulham and West Ham both away. Tottenham at home. Yeah, I mean, Tottenham at home, you should be getting the points there. Aston Villa away. Wolves away from home. And Everton away from home. Some tough fixtures in there, but they seem to be in the right place. They seem to be at Anfield. Feeling confident with some of these fixtures or most of these fixtures?
Yeah, I mean, I think I touched on this sort of earlier. You look at some of the games there. As much as you say that, Tottenham and Aston Villa have a chance to influence the title race, well, guess what? We also have a chance to influence their chances of top four football. It goes both ways, and I think you can look at sort of Villa away, Everton away. Don't forget as well, they're close to relegation, that sort of scrap. So you have to bear in mind, if that's a fixture that they pop right at the end of the season, that completely changes the context. So there are games like that you kind of need to be wary of. I don't want to seem sort of arrogant going into this, but honestly, the one fixture that I look at, and I sort of go, we need to win that one specifically, is away at Old Trafford. That is the one I look at. I genuinely think I'm not nervous going into any other game as a Liverpool fan. It's the Old Trafford game. Although, to be honest, I feel almost emboldened by the fact that we have already sort of been knocked out of the FA Cup by United, because I think to a certain degree, I think this Liverpool team does learn its lessons quite quickly. And I think the message certainly will be going into that, you've let them knock us out once, you've let them take away the dream of a quadruple. Do not let United be the side that ends the story, that ends the possibility of a league title, a final league title for Klopp at Liverpool.
God forbid, eh? God forbid.
Yeah, I know, but this is the thing. This will be the narrative. I think it shouldn't revolve entirely around that, because obviously it's a season of 38 games. But this will be the narrative at the end of the season. If Liverpool falls short by a point, if Liverpool falls short on goal difference, it will be you didn't beat United at Old Trafford, and United have stopped Liverpool from fulfilling the dream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This will be the narrative. I can see it.
Forget about any of the other games you might drop points in. It'll be that game at Old Trafford.
Listen, I don't want to appear arrogant. I respect the competition. I respect the games are difficult. You know what I mean? It's not an easy game. Villa away is not going to be an easy game. Away at Goodison, especially if relegation's on the line for Everton, is not going to be an easy game.
But if you want to win a title, you've got to win those games.
You've got to win those games. And this is a Liverpool side that is, in my opinion, still ahead of where it probably should have been this season. But it's put itself out there. We're now up for the title. So fuck it. Go for it. Why not? Absolutely go for it. Learn from your mistakes at Old Trafford and win the game. It sounds oversimplified, but it's as simple as that.
It is. It certainly is. Let's go to the comment section quickly. Simon says, Tottenham are not going to have their say in any of this title race. I wouldn't be surprised if all three of us beat them. My biggest worry is that we will come back after the international break and not be 100% and look rusty. Can any of you remember the 2001-02 season? Tottenham 1-0 to Liverpool, week 35. Arsenal 4 points clear. Arsenal then travelled to Manchester United, second to last game of the season, 1-0 win and completed the double. Goose pimples. This really, Garth's shaking his head.
What kind of memory trip are we going down? 25 years? Is that what we're going? God, I used to rip Liverpool fans for this. You know what I mean? What are you doing, Sire? Come on, mate. You remember? No, to be quite honest, I'm 40. I don't remember 0102 at all. That's a long time ago.
I don't remember last week, let alone 0102. Give me a break.
That one's seared in the memory banks. That one's seared. Don't worry.
You are up against two of these clubs. You're up against Arsenal and Liverpool. So you're definitely going to have something to say. And Man City as well?
Haven't we got Man City? Yeah, haven't we? Am I wrong?
No,
I thought we had all
No,
three.
you haven't got Man City. You haven't got Man City.
Oh, that's even better then. Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, you haven't got Man City. And you face Arsenal at home and Liverpool at home as well. So big say. Big say.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's going to be Man United. I said a couple of weeks ago, Man United will have a say in this in the end, depending, because we've got both Liverpool and Arsenal towards the end of the season as well, haven't we? Like last couple of games. So yeah, it could be a real say. And like you've already said, there's no win situation as a Man United fan, mate, because whoever we beat means either Liverpool win the title or Arsenal win the title or Man City win the title. So it's much of a muchness. I will say this now. I think you've all got pretty much the same running. Like I've heard Arsenal fans talking about how they've got the hardest run in this. Like you haven't. They're all pretty much the same, in my opinion. Liverpool got Everton, Derby. Like you've got Chelsea and Spurs and Man United, and City's got an easier one than Liverpool and Arsenal. But I think Liverpool and Arsenal are pretty exactly the same. I don't want to. At the end of the season, if Arsenal lose the title, I do not want to hear Arsenal fans going, "Oh, well, we had that tough running." Like you couldn't believe
we all played the same teams.
The teams we had to face, they were just so much better than Man City and Liverpool. That's nonsense. That really is. I'll also say you poo-pooed it a bit, Steve, but I do think the fact that the Arsenal team don't have the experience of a run-in and winning that run-in is a factor in it, because that really matters. It really does. Liverpool and Man City have got experience, and lots of experience at this. You're talking 6-7 years worth of experience at it. Whereas Arsenal, like, I'm not saying, and again, I know Arsenal fans get upset with this is your next test, this is your next test, and I don't mean it like that, but I do think that will have a say in it. It will really show, and I think you touched on it, it will really show how far you've actually come if you don't fall away with the money. Because Fergie always used to say this, it really matters, the experience. Like that's where, like, I don't worry about teams coming at us, it's about our experience of being here before and doing it. So I do think that will be not an issue, as I put it, a factor.
Yeah, I think this is part of it. This is part of it. And last season's experience where they dropped off towards the end of the season, that's the experience they've taken from that and learning from that and being here. And now we're at a stage of the season where I could see a lot of frailties in last season, in the second half of the season, even though we were winning. A lot of it, we went from beating teams 1-0, 2-0 to beating teams 4-3, 3-2, 4-2. And you couldn't, it was always like coming from behind or very, very close onto the last minute. And you can't do that. Whereas this time, the form's gone the other way round. We didn't start with as smooth as last season, but we finish as smooth as we started last season. So I think it's very different, and it's all an experience. And I think this run-in and how we finish it will stand in good stead going forward.
We don't have.
I don't want to sound like I'm disrespectful. I'm really not.
I get it.
I'm just saying that, in my opinion, that does matter. It does matter if you've got, especially with the managers and the player. Like, you've been there, you've done it. You know what I mean? And for Arsenal, it will be new. It will be. And listen, there's no way I can say you can't do it because you're looking great. But I just think that experience may shine through towards the end of the season.
Yeah, but you say that with Liverpool. I don't know if Farrell would agree or not. But Liverpool have got a hell of a lot of players that's not been there. I've just gone through about 6 or 7 in my head. So well, they've got a lot of players who ain't been in this situation before.
But the manager has.
Oh, right. So we can
stand around and say
that's the whole point. They've got players around them that have been there, Steve, that can show them the way and keep them going that way. Whereas Arsenal have got, I mean, how many league winners have Arsenal got in their team, like from around the world? It can't be many, thinking about it off the top of my head.
James Zinchenko, Arteta, Thomas Partey, Jorginho.
You've got a couple, that's what I'm saying. Whereas Liverpool,
no, that's 6.
Loads.
That's 6.
That was 4, wasn't
it? No, it was more than 4.
But I'll take.
But you see what I'm saying? Diaz ain't
not as a
been
manager.
there. Nunes ain't been there. So Bosley ain't been there. McAllister ain't been there. Bradley ain't been there.
Hang on a minute. Alisson Becker, Virgil van Dijk, Andy Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Joe Gomez, Joel Matip is injured. I'll give you that. Bloody hell! I think we'll go on to the midfield. Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, Mo Salah. I think fucking hell. That's like 8 or 7 players I've just rattled off. Then I'm pretty sure I missed out.
I didn't say
the Premier League. I'm talking about throughout football, throughout their career.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Title races. Bosley's been in title races. I'm talking about the Arsenal team.
What?
There's a lot of that team who haven't been in a title race, mate. Like Martinelli, Saka. A lot of your key players as well. Declan Rice. Saliba, or he was last year to be fair, but
Declan Rice, I think he has brought that sort of steeliness because of that European Cup that he's won.
And again, it's not a disrespectful thing, Steve. I'm not trying to take the mickey here, mate. I'm just saying.
I'm not. I'm just saying that, mate. There are players in other teams who could, they could fold because they haven't been there before. Just because other team, I'm not having that because other players have been there.
I'm not having that. It's not about folding. It's about the experience to take them there. I'm not saying that because you haven't got these players, you'll fold. I'm saying because Liverpool Man City have got these players, it will take them a little bit further than you. Not that you will fold, mate. That's what I'm saying. It's not a disrespectful thing. I'm not saying you'll crumble.
I'm not saying they haven't. I mean, Farrell's just named the Liverpool players. I'm not saying that Liverpool or Man City haven't, right? It's just that everybody sort of seems to think that Arsenal have got a problem because they ain't got the players they were.
No, it's not. I don't think people are saying it's a problem.
And I'm not having it. I'm not.
No,
because
this year. It's like when you've got a team who are serial FA Cup winners. Like if Arsenal come up in the FA Cup final against anyone, the chance they're going to be worrying more than Arsenal because we've been there, we've done it. We're the most successful team in FA Cup history. We've got the tea lady that's been around it. We've got people in the club that have been around it at them times in the running. They know how to behave in there. They know how to keep themselves calm. They know the mindset they've got thinking. It's not. I don't think it's. I don't think it's a slight to say that the experience that Manchester City have, especially. More so than Liverpool, because I wouldn't even put Liverpool in that same bracket, because Manchester City are the club that's gone over the line every time. Manchester City have got over Liverpool.
Yeah, but I never said that they hadn't. I was just making the point that Arsenal got very, very experienced players who have played in very, very big football matches, who have been in very, 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 very big situations. So to totally say that, they ain't been there, they ain't done it, and they're not. It's ridiculous. It's because I've ran off sick. Arteta's won 3 titles. Everybody was.
No one gives titles to an assistant manager, Steve. You can't have that one, mate. No one gives titles to an assistant manager.
Every Man City player, if you know more, every Man City player, like Lord is Arteta.
Yeah, but how different is a manager's job to an assistant manager's job?
Because he said that he was integral to the reason why he was. They begged him to stay because of what he was giving Pep, the advice
You're getting too emotional about this, Steve. It's not a slight. I keep saying that, and you're going, no, it's not a slight on Arsenal. It's bigging up the other two teams here. As I said, you're saying they've been there. Your team has never been in this.
But I never said that they haven't.
Let me finish. Have never been in this situation. The one time some of them have, you crumbled and you fell away, and that's what
I never said they hadn't.
But so what point are you trying to make here? Because what I'm saying is it will be a factor in the title run.
I don't think
you're
so.
saying it's not. Yeah, so,
I don't think so.
Of course it will.
I don't think so. I'm not.
But even if you say Arteta, okay, Arteta, but Arteta is the. But wait, Arteta is the reason why Arsenal are in this position now. It's the players that now have to take them past that. So the likes of Jesus, the likes of Zinchenko, took us to the point where we were last season. The likes of Jorginho added that experience halfway through that season to keep us in and amongst that. But it's the other players that will now have to use the experience they didn't have, that they have now from last season, to then learn from that and push forward. And if they do win the league, they will now have that in their locker to say, okay, this is how we have to behave. This is how we have to be in for the running, which they don't have that experience now. They can only take it from the few people that are around them and the manager that was in there as assistant at Manchester City. Though they can't look within themselves and go, oh, I've been here before. I know how to deal with this. It's something you have to experience, and then you lock that in.
I think they've been there. I think they was there. I think most of them were there last season. I think a lot of the players that have been brought in by Arteta would have been brought in, especially because they have been there in big situations, right? With Champions Leagues and thing. And I didn't say again. I never said that Man City haven't got the. I've said Man City and Liverpool should win the titles to win the league. I've said it 10 minutes ago.
Why should Man City and Liverpool win the league if they're all on an even kill then?
Well, because they've got the managers that I think still a little bit better than ours, and
why are they better than ours? Why are they better than Arteta?
I'm not going to win, am I? Because whatever way one I say, you've got to go back to the other one and say that, and then say that one's wrong. So one of them's got to be right.
There's no winning. There's no winning. It's always
what I mean.
But
you got defensive about it, and I don't mean any disrespect to Arsenal.
Yeah. What makes them better than Arteta?
What?
It's hard, isn't it?
Better than Arteta.
Because everybody keeps telling us that Klopp and Arteta and they're better, so we might as well say that they are.
It's not so much. You've got to consider the context of you coming up against two sides that have for the last 7 years. Like we got to 90-point, 100-point seasons. This doesn't happen every season. It doesn't really happen often. Across the decades. We're talking about two teams that have challenged each other, have improved each other, that have gone to such elite heights that probably won't be seen in the Premier League for another 10, maybe 20 years. It's a unique context. What you're up against is abnormal. It is abnormal. That is the fact of the matter. So to be even in this conversation, it's not a slight on Arsenal, not by any means at all. It's massive that you're here. It's massive that you're involved in this conversation. You're up against two unbelievable teams. Once Klopp goes, once Guardiola goes, we'll all be looking back on this and thinking, fuck me, did this actually happen? Do we actually witness these two teams? Do we actually witness these two managers? It is football history.
But there's got to be a point, Farrell. There's got to be a point where somebody, wins the league or ain't experienced as the other two. So as football people, you look at the other team and you think, well, who is this new team that's coming on to break the great Klopp and great Pep, cycle of all these years? So you look at Arsenal, you think, could they be it?
If you ask Ten Hag.
Right,
he's seen off Klopp, mate. What are you talking about?
So you have a look. Can they do it? Can they do
all
it?
All eras come to an end, my friend.
What players have got? What players have they got?
If you listen to the disclaimer I said at the start of it, what I'm saying, if you do win, I'm not saying you can't. If you do, it will show that you are where you're now that team. That's exactly what I was saying, Steve. It's just.
But do you think? do you think, that Arsenal are an inexperienced football side? Do they look like an experienced football side with inexperienced players who you think that are not capable of going all the way and winning the title?
No, they are capable of going all the way.
Or do you think that where they was last season and players that they've brought in and experience that they've got, international people that won Champions League, people that won Premier League titles, bloody blah, do you think, right, that they are at this minute in time, more than capable of winning that Premier League?
Yeah, they are capable of winning that league.
Thank you. That's all I needed to know. Thank you very much. Good night. Next subject.
The point Garth was trying to make is it's more nuanced than that, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you are capable of winning the league. You could win the league. I'm not, no one's saying that. Yeah. Absolutely, you're in this. You could win this feasibly, genuinely. You absolutely could. You're coming up against a Liverpool side in transition. City aren't as good as they used to be.
Yeah, and that's what I know. And we all will see that.
But the fact of the matter, it's all contextual. You've got to take into
but because they've done it and been there before.
You are completely missing the point, Steve.
The easiest way to put this, right, is look. I think the easiest way to put this is you look at the experience in the Liverpool squad. You look at the experience in the City squad. That can have a bearing in a title race. Equally, you look at the fixture congestion. Liverpool got to play 8 games in 24 days in April. Could completely derail our season. You know what I mean? And then we're not talking about Liverpool's experience. We're talking about a straight up fight to the end between Arsenal and City. Yeah.
Whenever I speak about Arsenal, right, I get all that. I'm not stupid, right? I know exactly what you're saying, right? But all I ever get is when you talk about Arsenal for the title in this team is, but have they done it before? And it's getting really, really boring. And I'm sure Arsenal fans are getting really bored of it when you get to a point. And it's getting tedious now and cringeworthy. You're like, here we go again.
Mate, Liverpool won 1 in 6. 1 in 6. What do you think we've been hearing for the 5 years we didn't hear it? Oh, you're brilliant, but you're not as brilliant. This is a Liverpool side that breached fucking plus 95 points twice. You know what I mean? Like we're talking like how much you win the league, and if City don't exist, you win the league any other season. I don't care to hear it. Ferguson, but absolutely any other season, Liverpool win the league. This is just what you deal with. You will eventually win the league, and these questions about experience will go away. But you need to get there.
But at the moment, what I'm trying to explain is that at the moment, I don't believe with the way that the 3 teams are and the way the 3 teams are playing and the experience at this time is a very, very little, it's a minutest thing to pick out of all the things, everything else that's going on, right? With the reasons why someone should win the league. And that's my point. That's my point.
That win the league, Steve. They're the 1% that win the league. They are literally the 1% that win the league.
There's a hell of a lot of other 1% though, Garth.
Exactly. More 99%. It's 99%.
Exactly.
That was just one thing I was saying about, which is Liverpool, Man City have got that experience and you haven't, and it can be a factor. So what? Another factor. You're fighting on 2 fronts, mate. When was the last time you were going for a Champions League in a league?
Yeah, you can't sit there and say
it's got no bearing on our form. Like, it's got no bearing on what happens at the end of the league. Of course it has. It's them 1%. And if you do it, it shows everyone. And that's last
season, Garth, it was all twisted the other way because we was on this show and it was like, but the reason why Arsenal, because the clubs that could win.
You were points ahead, weren't you? Weren't you like 5 points clear at that time?
No. We had on here, right, and I've got receipts, right. We had people say the fact that we are the fact that we are in the Champions League, that gives us more chance of winning the league. So now we change the narrative. Right?
I can't believe it. Who said that? Find them receipts, because there's no way I said that if you're in the Champions League.
No, not you. It wasn't you. It wasn't you. But Kieran,
that ain't right.
Kieran, you know for a fact, right, that was a reason. And let's say the narrative changes is whenever asked, what can we change the narrative to? Oh, Arsenal in the Champions League. Well, that's difficult now. They've got less chance. Man City are in it. Oh, no, being in it, they've got more chance now winning the league.
I think what was said
every time.
What was said last season was I think because you mentioned about we could concentrate on the league, and I think it was said that maybe concentrating on the league, solely on the league, is something that you don't want to do because it's too much pressure put in on that league.
Yeah.
That was the other argument. Look, we're here to debate. It's been good. Kevin's got something to say, even though he's not here. I think any three can win it from here. I see Liverpool as favourites, and whoever wins on Sunday will push them the closest, I think. There we go, Kevin.
Yeah, I hope you brought me back a present.
Will Man United, will Man City, Liverpool, or Arsenal fans stand up and say we're going to win the title? Because
not bloody likely. Not a chance.
I can't see us winning it. You know,
everyone's just hands off.
We're not the strongest here. Like,
yeah, I don't know about you, but we're not favourites.
Much easier.
I'll tell you what I will say. If the season carries on with the three teams playing as the way they are, Arsenal win it.
There we go. He said it. He said it.
Chest out.
Take it in.
But that ain't going to happen. That ain't going to happen, is it?
It's out there. The read receipts are there now. It's out there. Arsenal winning the league.
Do you see what I mean? Like they cut that bit. You don't forget the other bit that I said round it. That little bit there.
Shorts forever.
The
moment that Arsenal lost the league, Steve.
Yeah,
we're going to win it.
25th of March, 8:55, 2004. Steve jinxed Arsenal. They went on a barren run after
true,
that.
though, isn't it? Arsenal are the team that are in the best vein of form at the minute. But as I said, I've always, you know, if that carries on like that, yeah.
Top
I mean,
goal
if
scorers
we
in the league, conceded the least, playing the most beautiful
if
football you'll ever see.
If we was playing Man City on a neutral ground the weekend, then I'll be like, yeah, we take these.
You was playing on neutral ground.
It's not.
Let's play them on Wembley, our other home ground.
Yeah, we'll change it.
No
fans for him.
All right. It's that time for the next subject, Manchester United. Garth.
No, come on. No, I was enjoying this one, mate. I
was enjoying it a little bit too much for my liking.
Too much, yeah.
Time
Let's bring it back down. Let's bring it
back
back down.
Smile across your face, off your face. It's going to be slightly better, though, because the conversation's moved from Gareth Southgate to Thomas Frank. We'll go on Steve on that one in a second. Roberto De Zerbi, Graham Potter, Thomas Tuchel, Lopetegui, Zidane. I doubt it very much. Dream on.
Zidane
Ruben Amorim, Nagelsmann, or even Big Ange Postecoglou.
Don't take him away from Farrell. He's their next manager.
We're talking about Farrell,
mate. He wants hands. You said he'd have hands.
Oh, wait, hang on. I said if we can't get Alonso, Amorim, De Zerbi, whoever's in fourth, I might consider him as my fifth choice.
Stevie G, and then Big Ange. But Garth, we'll start with you. But first of all, I wanted to hear what you had to say about the news that came out where potentially Gareth Southgate was labelled as the favourite to take over from Ten Hag if he was to move on.
Do you know what? A friend of the show, Alex, I think said it best in the group chat, which was, as a Man United fan, what fresh hell is this? What is going? Nah, listen, Southgate, I can't. Nah. This is the thing. I can't even give you a specific thing. Why not? A specific reason. It's just absolutely not. I've seen his football with England.
Do you want win percentages? I can give you a reason.
What Middlesbrough or England?
His win percentage as a Premier League manager is 25.4%. Worse. You won't know. Seriously, it gets worse. You know, worse than Walter Mazzari with 28.9%, but critically worse than Roy Keane's Premier League win percentage, 28.3%.
I was thinking, how the hell has Farrell come with receipts already? But it's because it's Man United. That's why. That's why he's so happy that Gareth Southgate could potentially be Man United manager. He brought his own receipts. So
can't be dealing with Southgate. I can't. Not Southgate. Thomas Frank. No, we're Man United, mate. I can't have this. Like I said to you before, for me, them boys you've listed, Thomas Tuchel's the one I'd have come in. I mean, disclaimer: I think Ten Hag deserves another season. It looks like we're going to make another FA Cup. We're definitely in a European competition again for next season. I know again a lot of people are very upset with his style of play this season, but I think I said to you earlier, Steve, tonight, How do you deal when you ain't got the squad depth as well? How do you really deal with losing your best centre back for the entire season? Your brand new £60 million centre midfield signing that's meant to replace the aging Christian Eriksen and give you more legs in the midfield. A striker that ain't scoring, even though you just bought him, but that your only striker. So when he's injured, you've got no one else. The Sancho situation, the Greenwood situation, the new board coming in situation. I don't think it's fair to sack him this season. I really don't. So I'd keep him for a year. But yeah, Tommy Tuchel would be the man I'd take out of all of that. Ange can stay well away from my club. I don't even anywhere near it. De Zerbi, I don't rate De Zerbi anywhere near as highly as a lot of people do. I have him as one of those mercurial managers, that right word, where he's good for a mid-table team because you can get them results, them 4-1s against Man United, but you haven't got the consistency because your tactics are quite exploitative. You can exploit them quite easily. Of all of them, of like the more reasonable ones, of like the younger crowd, I'd probably take a punt on Graham Potter, maybe. But this, honestly, it's so bad at the moment. These options, like no offense to anyone, the options are lacking out there.
Yeah, I think Farrell's coming across that as well. Like, I think you must be in the same situation where you're looking at some of the managers out there and you're like, there's actually probably no one. Klopp, just stay. There's no one that you want, which is probably why you're alluding to the I'd rather keep Ten Hag and give him another opportunity with a bit of structure behind him.
You know what, though? Like, I think that there was you say this, but then some of the younger crowd are actually doing reasonably well. I mean, Lewis Steele, the Daily Mail, he wrote a report on Liverpool's managerial search, and obviously our search is going to be heavily informed by data. We've brought the guru back, Michael Edwards himself, Richard Hughes, who Michael Edwards really rates as a sporting director. Frankly, as far as I'm concerned, if Edwards thinks he's gold dust, bring him to Liverpool. I'm happy with that appointment. But apparently they've already been conducting managerial sort of data tests. And Amorim, and I've got literally a quote here from the Daily Mail, has been described by those close to him as a master communicator, and it's believed he scored high on internal data tests led by Liverpool's head of research, Will Spearman, who another genius, by the way. We've got a lot of those piling up at Liverpool of late. So it's a tough one, though, because you do look at it contextually and think, well, yes, you can bring players from the Portuguese top flight, but how are the managers going to do? That's a whole different kettle of fish. But if Liverpool's data department, if all the right people are saying the same things and agree with each other that this is the best move, I'm all for it. Personally, they're more well-equipped than I am to determine whether they're the right fit for Liverpool. Obviously, it's difficult because at United, you're not coming into a team like Liverpool. In the current situation as it is, with the squad, with everything working behind the scenes, it looks like it's heading in the right direction at United. But I can understand why Gareth's saying give Ten Hag another year and sort of see where you're at once things have calmed down a bit.
Yeah, well, let's hope he's not. Amaron's not an Andre Villas-Boas.
No, yeah. Ouch, mate.
Sorry.
I was just about to say Farrell, mate. I heard all this about Ten Hag though as well. All these data, he's got this. He's got the biggest win percentage here. It's such a big jump in it from any league anywhere for a young manager to the Premier League. It really is. Yeah.
Steve, the man at the moment, you got a story on Thomas Frank to Manchester United potentially. Bit more on that.
Yeah, I mean he's likes at Manchester United mainly by Sir Jim, and he's a target for them. If Ten Hag doesn't, he's not their manager at the end of the season. So, I mean that's
what is it that what is drawing him to a Thomas Frank type character?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't actually said why. Been told why they want him. I mean, for me, you look at Thomas Frank. I can see why. I can see why they want him. For me, I think he's a very good manager. He's a very good man manager. When Brentford seem to come up against the top teams, they always give them trouble. And it does make you wonder if you're a new owner and you are sort of hunting around and there's not many managers about. You look at someone like Frank and you think, well, what could he do if he had better players around him with more money?
Mm-hmm.
So that was my thinking, around it when I got told that they was interested. And while having the conversation, I was like, he wouldn't have been someone that came into my head straight away. But when it was explained to me why they would be interested in someone like Thomas Frank, all that made perfect sense to me.
Mhm.
You know, apparently he's got this incredible record against the top six. All right, he struggled this season, but you know he's had his main striker out. They've had a lot of injuries, and Bomo's been out. I think their main centre back's been out. They've just lost, you know, David Raya this season, so he's having a bit of like a transition season. And Manchester United like him, and to me, when you look at the others, you think of Ange at Tottenham and Zizerbi and Garth's already named quite a few. You know, other than probably the one Garth said, other than Thomas Tuchel, well, I think it's quite a good shout actually. If Ten Hag does end up going, I think Frank does make a lot of sense to me. Out of the ones that they're, you know, that are, Man United will probably get, you know, that are in their grasp, if you like, if he leaves. But yeah, will he leave? Will he not? I think the jury's still out on Ten Hag for me. Not because he's a bad manager, just because really you can't really judge him on anything because of, you know, the what he's had to put up with for his first two seasons. Yeah, I mean, I've been told it's 50-50, and they need to be back in the Champions League next season. So yeah, you know, what's in the eyes of the heads of the new owners is interest. But I Thomas Frank to me sounded a decent choice.
Of the ones that I listed off, who would you pick for Man United of the names that I listed off there?
What was the list, mate? What was the list, Thomas?
What was it? Thomas Frank, Amaron, Postecoglou, Tuchel, Nagelsmann. Who else was in there? Southgate.
Potter.
Deserbi.
Then Deserbi, yeah.
Well, if they can get them, I think, you know, but these obviously managers from abroad, and they might not that they'll go to better clubs just because of the situation United's in at the moment. Probably you would say Nagelsmann and Tuchel. I personally, if Nagel and Tuchel said, you know, I'll take the job the start of this season. I mean, I'm not a Man United fan, so you know, Garth is, but personally, I would say see you later, Tuchel. Sorry, see you later, Ten Hag. So,
and you're going for Tuchel. Nagelsmann.
I still wouldn't do that, Steve. I still wouldn't do that. I'd keep Ten Hag for a season. No, unless Ancelotti or Zidane was available, then no, I'd keep Ten Hag for another year.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying from my point of view. Yeah.
No, yeah, but no, just from like for me. I'm beginning to sort of warm to Ten Hag a little bit, but I do look at the mistakes he's made. I try and see an identity. I haven't seen one yet. I think it's very possible he can get things happening. I think his signings have been not great. So if you're a new owner coming in and you want to start again, I think if you've got someone who's a German international manager, someone who's managed Bayern Munich, someone as experienced as Tuchel, who's been in Champions League football, used to dealing with big players. Both of them played in big leagues. No disrespect to Ten Hag, he's only been in the Eredivisie. I think if Tuchel went, "I'll come if you want me," yeah, I'd grab you. I
think Ten Hag's gone. I actually do. I do think the board will get rid of Ten Hag. Like you said, unless we get Champions League and the FA Cup win, I think he's gone. But I tell you who else is out there. Maybe he could do a little Luis Figo for us. Is Jurgen Klopp? He's out for doing something. You know what I mean? So Pig's heads on the pitch, mate.
Fully involved.
Pig's heads.
I was fully involved. It took a second. And on that note, perfect time to end there before Farrell jumps through the screen. Don't mess with those Liverpool fans. Thanks for everyone who's joined us in the comment section. Kevin Parker, thank you for joining us tonight. Kevin, thank you for joining us tonight. Simon, and thank you for joining us tonight, Russ. And everyone else out there who has watched the show, come and make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and that share button if you are a regular to the show. Thank you, Steve, Garth, and Farrell.
Cheers, mate.
All right, Steve's had enough.
He's had
enough of us.
Hollywood exits.
You love to see it.
Steve, mate.
Elvis has left the building. On that note, peace out.
You're welcome. Thank you. You're more than welcome.
There he goes. Wanted to make a dramatic exit. So good he's doing it twice. Peace out. Stay safe and wash your hands.